Are you really sure that you truly understand the dog living with you every single day? Or are you just understanding it through stories humans have passed down to each other for years? I've lived with dogs long enough to realize something that's a little uncomfortable. Most of what we believe about dogs is wrong, in a very natural way. Wrong because it sounds reasonable. Wrong because everyone repeats it. Wrong because we look at dogs through human emotions instead of through the way dogs actually experience the world. For example, have you ever believed that dogs only see in black and white? A lot of people do, but that isn't true. A dog's world isn't gray and lifeless like an old movie. It's just a different color palette from ours. For dogs, blue and yellow stand out the most. And those bright red toys you bought with so much excitement? To your dog, they might look dull, almost uninteresting. Many owners complain, "Why doesn't my dog play with the new toy?" When the real issue is color. Then there's the way dogs lean against us. Everyone loves that feeling. Everyone wants to believe it means, "My dog loves me." But sometimes that lean isn't love. It's worry. It's uncertainty. It's a small body asking, "Is this place safe?" I've seen many dogs pressed tightly against their owners in crowded places, unfamiliar environments, surrounded by overwhelming sounds, not to show affection, but to find stability. And if you've ever noticed your dog clinging to you in moments like that, understand it as a signal asking for reassurance, not a moment to brag about how attached they are. The same goes for swimming. Many people assume dogs are natural swimmers. But I've watched dogs panic in water simply because their owners believed, "If I let go, they'll figure it out." Every breed has a different body structure. Some are built to swim, others struggle just to stay afloat. Believing the wrong thing here doesn't just create fear, it can be dangerous. Or shaving a dog's fur to help them cool down. It sounds logical, but human logic doesn't always match canine biology. Fur isn't just for warmth. It's part of a temperature regulation system. Shaving it doesn't make dogs cooler. It removes protection, making them more vulnerable to heat and sunburn. Many well-intentioned actions quietly become burdens for dogs. One mistake I see over and over, and one that causes the most damage, is taking food away. 2. Teach a dog not to guard. If someone kept grabbing your plate while you were eating, what would you learn? Trust or fear? Dogs learn the same way. Taking the bowl doesn't teach safety. It teaches that every meal is at risk. Then there are hugs. Humans love hugs, but many dogs simply tolerate them. Ears pulled back, body stiff, eyes avoiding contact, not because they dislike you, but because their body is saying, "I'm uncomfortable." Loving a dog sometimes means learning when not to touch. Neutering is another misunderstood topic. Some people fear it will ruin a dog's personality. But what changes isn't who the dog is, it's behaviors driven by hormones. The dog remains the same, just less controlled by impulses that make life harder for everyone involved. And finally, the look we call guilt. Let me be honest. Dogs don't feel guilt. They feel your emotion. That look isn't regret about the past. It's a reaction to your tone, your posture, your mood. Dogs live in the present. They don't connect today's scolding to something that happened hours ago. What they learn is simple. Right now, the environment feels unsafe. If you've ever looked at your dog with disappointment, try changing your perspective. Maybe your dog isn't misbehaving. Maybe it's simply living according to its biology, while we're asking it to understand human rules. I'm genuinely curious. Out of everything you just heard, what surprised you the most? Or have you ever done one of these things without realizing it might be wrong? Leave a comment not to judge, but to understand. Because in the end, living with a dog isn't about teaching it to be human, it's about learning how to be a better listener. And when it comes specifically to Shih Tzus, misunderstandings become even more common. Simply because this breed looks too gentle, too small, too cute for people to imagine that they also have a nervous system that is just as complex and sensitive as any other dog. Shih Tzus are not weak dogs. They are high-alert dogs. Their small bodies, short muzzles, and sensitive hearing mean the world reaches them faster, closer, and more intensely. A loud noise, a sudden bend toward them, a hand coming down from above, these may feel normal to humans, but to a Shih Tzu, they can register as warning signals. Many behaviors labeled as stubborn, hard to understand, or moody are actually responses from a nervous system that's working overtime. Many Shih Tzu owners complain that their dogs cling to them, follow them everywhere, or lie directly in their path. But from a biological perspective, this isn't neediness. It's anchoring behavior, searching for a point of safety. Shih Tzus were bred to live close to humans, to observe them, to read facial expressions and movement. When your pace becomes tense, your steps faster, your voice sharper, your dog's body notices it before you consciously realize you're stressed. And it follows you not because it's too attached, but because it's trying to keep its internal system stable. That's also why Shih Tzus are especially vulnerable to shouting, harsh corrections, or scaring them into remembering. Their brains don't process punishment in moral terms. They only learn one thing. This environment is no longer safe. From there, avoidance, withdrawal, or unpredictable behaviors can slowly develop. Another detail many people overlook. Shih Tzus do poorly with uncertainty. Inconsistent routines, feeding early one day and late the next, being allowed on the bed sometimes and pushed away, other times, being petted one moment and ignored the next, force their bodies to constantly guess, and long-term guessing turns into anxiety. That anxiety doesn't always show up as barking or destruction. In Shih Tzus, it often appears as silence, avoiding eye contact, or excessive clinging. If you're living with a Shih Tzu, try asking yourself this. In their daily life, how many things are truly consistent? Not how many toys they have, not how many commands they know, but how many safety signals are repeated calmly and predictably. This channel doesn't exist to teach you how to train dogs better. It exists to help you understand the body and behavior of Shih Tzus more accurately, so your relationship becomes lighter, clearer, and less tense. If you've ever looked at your Shih Tzu and felt confused, exhausted, or even helpless, you're not alone. Subscribe and stay. Stay so we can talk about dogs in a real, science-based way without being cold. Stay to understand that sometimes what a Shih Tzu needs most isn't to be corrected, but to live in an environment where their body feels safe enough to simply be itself. Before this video comes to an end, I want you to hold on to one very small but very real thing, not as a Shih Tzu care tip, and not as a rule you need to remember or follow correctly. Just a different way of looking at a relationship you may be living with every day, but rarely stop to name. Shih Tzus don't come into your life to become good dogs. They aren't born to understand human rules, and they don't exist to please you. What they do, quietly and consistently, is reflect your state of living. When you rush, they tense up. When you're inconsistent, they become alert. When you're steady, they soften naturally. Not because you trained them better, but because their bodies finally receive the signal. There's no need to stay on guard here. Many Shih Tzu owners feel tired. Tired because their dog feels hard to understand. Tired because they've tried so many things and nothing seems to change. But maybe the issue isn't that you haven't done enough. Maybe it's that you've done too much. Too many corrections. Too many expectations. Too many moments of judging behavior as right or wrong. Shih Tzus don't live by that logic. They live by rhythm. The rhythm of sleep. The rhythm of meals. The rhythm of familiar voices in the home. When you begin to understand this, something subtle but powerful happens. You stop trying to fix your dog every time a behavior feels wrong. You start observing what happened before the body reacted that way. You stop projecting human emotions onto them, and in return, that small dog becomes less guarded, less clingy, less driven to control the world around them. At some point, living with a Shih Tzu stops being about techniques or methods. It becomes about presence. Are you there? Are you consistent? Are you safe in the way you enter their space? They don't need you to be perfect. They only need you to be predictable enough for their body to rest. If anything in this video touched you, if you've ever blamed your dog unfairly, felt helpless, or thought, maybe I'm not meant to raise this breed, I want you to know this. You haven't failed. You're simply learning to see another species through a different lens. And that takes time. This channel is made for real dog owners. People who live with dogs every day, who feel love, frustration, confusion, and who are brave enough to reflect on how they interact with a voiceless being. If you want to continue understanding Shih Tzus, not to control them better, but to live with them more gently, subscribe and stay. Stay, so we can talk about the small but meaningful things. Stay so each day in a home with a Shih Tzu no longer feels like a tug of war between expectation and disappointment, but becomes a relationship that is slower, deeper, and more real.